I get worried when I'm dealing with somebody like Cherarke.
Why?
I don't know. Has he prosecuted any case in a court of law? Is he an advocate of the High Court? I don't know. Sincerely, I don't know. And I don't credit him with a lot of thinking. You can take me to court on that, but I will be able to prove that I don't credit him with deep thinking. There are many Kenyans who qualify. And if, let's say, the president wanted to favor or teach with a job for some known background that they have shared, he could have given him another position.
And you're just in time for Richard Mwenje exclusive here on Herman Manyora's channel. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenje. And today, as usual, we have our resident analyst, former cabinet minister, Ruto Arab Kirwa. We are here to dissect a plethora of issues in the world of politics and governance. So we are truly glad to have you on board. Now let's go straight to the conversation of the day. Kirwa, karibu sana.
Asante na shukuru.
Looking sharp as always.
Well, I don't know whether I'm sharp today.
You truly
Because
are.
I'm planning to travel home.
You're planning to travel home?
Yeah, to Kitale.
Ara?
Yes.
A serious farmer you are?
Well, a small-scale farmer, I should say. Because to be a serious farmer in Kenya, you must have 1,000 or so.
Acres.
Yeah, but if you have 100 acres, you don't talk where farmers are.
Where farmers are?
Yeah.
Much as you are the Minister for Agriculture sometime back.
Yes, I was a worker. Yeah, you know, at times even somebody who looks after your livestock does not have to own even one. So I was working for Kenya.
Working for Kenya.
Yes, and I'm happy we did a good job with those officers. I always maintain, I don't miss the ministry, I miss the people I worked with. And anytime I see them, I thank God for them.
Are you not afraid of people who will say this one was not a smart CS? Others are billionaires, nowhere close to being one.
Well, you know, being a billionaire, there's something, Richard, which I think is very important, especially for young generation, is to understand what is the means of achieving that. Let's not be Machiavellian, that the end justify the means. For me, I think the means should even justify the end. That if you have used good means and you have whatever you have, we must know how did you get there. Otherwise, it is dangerous nowadays. You find somebody first timer and is planning to import a helicopter. You see, you really wonder what happens at the constituency level. Is that person really using the resources that are meant for the constituents for other purposes?
Very well.
And if we inculcate in our people the art of just primitive acquisition without the means, that's dangerous for our society.
Dangerous. So from your optic as a leader, much has to be found within our borders and not your stomach.
Yeah, that's within the borders of Kenya. Or even if it's beyond the borders, the means must be justified.
Justifiable.
Yes, justifiable.
Sticking to matters integrity in wealth accumulation and income growth as a person and as a nation, one of the conduits the government has adopted to raise its revenue and seal any revenue leakages is mandating all government payments to be made through the e-citizen platform. I'm sure you're aware of that. But this has received criticism from many quarters. And the argument from the government is those opposing the move are the cartels or people who are used to looting and budgeted corruptions and stealing from public coffers. From where you sit, do you think this is an implementation that was long overdue, or we have rushed into implementation of one revenue collection platform?
Well, there are two critical things. One is the usage of English language. English language is not our language, but when you choose to use certain language, for example, if I was to speak Luya, or if I was to speak the Luo, I must use the right words. But English language that now we imported and has become our language of communication largely is misused. The word cartel is being overused. Of course, there is the formal cartel of people who do the same business, and they have, of course, to move and try to edge out competition. And there is now the acquisition of cartel in Kenya is to mean those people who gang up to steal from the coffers of the state.
Rightly put.
So I'm worried which of the two words can be appropriately used, we can appropriately use the cartel, in the sense that those of us in the opposition do not have capacity to form a cartel to fleece the state, because even if we had the intention, we do not have the means of getting there. The second issue is that technology is something that we should all embrace, because it makes things easier. I can transact whether I'm buying fertilizer at Sibanga or I'm buying fertilizer in Nakuru, in my farm in Nakuru, or for my farm in Nakuru. I can buy from the comfort of this seat. And therefore, none of us should frown upon usage of technology for ease of doing business. But the danger that I see about the so-called e-citizen is, how can you say you are stopping corruption when these resources will get to certain area of destination where expenditure is going to be incurred? Because where corruption takes place is at the position of procurement. Corruption does not take place in terms of receiving the resources. Number two, why should you tell St. Anthony in Trans Nzoia or St. Luanga in Kitui that first you must pass your resources through e-citizen and wait for you to receive the money from the central kitty, when we know even the resources the government disperses on regular basis, whether it's capitation or resources for the universities, takes at times 2 years before those resources are passed. Why are you creating another layer of bureaucracy that, yes, I receive your salary through my account, then I pay you, and I'm not your paymaster. You have your paymaster, he's supposed to pay you. And if you are spending any money sending any money to me, there must be some justifiable transaction.
Very well.
So my worry is, unless the government wants the money to pass through e-citizen to justify to World Bank and IMF that this is the revenue stream that we are getting as a government. Otherwise, you cannot convince me, and I'm yet to be convinced, that Limuru girls in Kiambu, it needs the money to go through its citizen for it to be wired again to Limuru girls. Because really the source and the destination are two different considerations. Why should you manage my resources? Why, if let's say I have a school, a public school, like Alliance, Lenana or Mango, why must the resources pass through e-citizen? If you want to manage the resources, why don't we have a standard way of saying all schools, they do this? Why must we pass through government resources that do not belong to government? Yeah, that money belongs to the people and the school.
Very well.
Yeah.
Shifting gears to matters meritocracy in public service, you and I know very well that it is said Caesar's wife is beyond suspicion. And when it comes to public service, we've seen former Treasury CS Henry Rotich land a new position in Ruto's government as one of the economic advisors. And at one point, he was accused of graft charges, much as thereafter he was acquitted of the same charges. But from where you sit, do you believe that we should still give appointments to people who at some point were doubted of corruption and graft allegations? Or suspicion is enough for them to pack and go?
You know, being a maize farmer, I will just give you a simple example of maize.
Sure.
If somebody has been accused at Toro in Trans Nzoia, Ziwa in Uasin Gishu, Lukuyani in Kakamega, that any time he passes a place in the evening, certain bags of maize will get lost. Then you bring that guy to be now in charge of National Cereals and Produce stores at Mossbridge. You are telling us either you are stealing with the person, or the person stole with your knowledge, whether he's acquitted in a court of law. Because a court of law convicts somebody on the basis of evidence adduced and the law. So at times the evidence adduced may not be credible, but once you are suspected, then you are not longer beyond reproach.
Very well. I'm
not suggesting that CS Rotich is guilty. He was acquitted by a competent court of law. But of course, the evidence was that the prosecution never presented a serious case, and some of the witnesses came and they were mum. They never said anything, and therefore there was no cross-examination. This therefore tells you there was collusion from the beginning. Nonetheless, there are many Kenyans who qualify. And if, let's say, the president wanted to favor Rotich with a job for some known background that they have shared, he could have given him another position. You know, just look at it, Richard. I was minister for 5 years. Some of the people who are with me are no longer in the ministry. Either they have retired or they have left the ministry because of greener pastures or natural attrition process. You take me to the Ministry of Agriculture today and you say, I'm a special advisor to the president insofar as food security is concerned. And you see the president has created a system where it is he and nobody else. So if I tell you this is what the president has said, even the minister in charge of that portfolio, Medeka Linturi, will feel this is from the big house. And therefore the guy will be what the lawyers call fantas official. Ana kazi. Yeye mwenyewe anaongoja niseme nini. Ceremonial. So if let's say the president wanted me to be special advisor, he can take me to Ministry of Defense where I don't have a lot of background. I might have done 1 or 2 papers in school. But taking me to the same ministry, when even some of the officers are there, you know, for me, many of the officers have left. But Rotich, the current CS, was his officer. The current PS was his officer. And yet, of course, earlier in life, they were his bosses. So some of the things really besmirk a system that is confused.
Advancing that conversation, at some point you are a close ally of President William Ruto, yes. And it is said that it is his modus operandi to die with those who at some point died with him. Even with the appointment of CS Henry Rotich, does it come as a shocker to you, or he's just been loyal to a friend who stood by him at some point?
Well, he confirms the journey they have traveled together. Let me not say more than that. He confirms that the journey they have traveled. Kimwarer is a dam that was created in the air. Haror is another dam that was created in the air. And some of the proceeds of the money, the argument is, was it 60 billion or 7 billion? Some of the money was used to buy towels. I don't know what you use towels in a dam and beds. So we don't know whether there was a hotel within the dam, or the dam was supposed to be a hotel, or the dam was created to build a hotel, and therefore some of those facilities for furnishing the hotel may be lying somewhere in Keyo Marakwet County. So I don't know.
Very well. Before we come, we bring this show to a wrap, let's cross over to matters judiciary, and I want to get your opinion on sentiments of none other than Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei. He had this to say about the judiciary, that I am a trained lawyer and I just don't understand the judiciary. Every government project has been stopped. The judiciary is fighting the government because they were used for budgeted corruption. Many cases have taken 20 years, but when it comes to stopping the government, the judiciary takes 1 minute, 59 seconds. Let me ask you, the seasoned leader in this country, are we seeing a situation whereby legislators are blackmailing the judiciary?
Well, I get worried when I'm dealing with somebody like Cherargei.
Why?
I don't know. Has he prosecuted any case in a court of law? Is he an advocate of the High Court? I don't know. Sincerely, I don't know. And I don't credit him with a lot of thinking. You can take me to court on that, but I will be able to prove that I don't credit him with deep thinking, because we've had interviews with him in various media houses, and I think in future you can bring him with me.
I surely will.
So that we engage and we see who is a lawyer and who is not a lawyer, and who is a layman with intellect, and who is a lawyer without the requisite capacity to perform in matters law. But now, because I have to be careful about how we treat the public understands that there are 3 arms of government, and this 2010 Constitution has been very generous. Apart from the three arms of government, they created another constitutional offices like Judicial Service Commission, the Department of the Public Prosecution, and many others, Land Commission. These are independent institutions within the framework of our 2010 Constitution. And therefore, when you are doing something, you must ask yourself, am I inviting people to this open domain without preparing myself in terms of timing, in terms of process, and in terms of the law? So some of the decisions the government has been taking, they don't take into consideration the law, the process, and the timing, such that even the issue which is constitutional, like public participation, they ignore it for no reason. So if they were able to follow that up to the end, they would not have any problem with the court of law, because the court of law would check the facts, the law, the process.
Very well.
Yeah.
On matters, Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, are you speaking into an issue of, say, extreme sycophancy and the need to play to the tune of the president just so to win his support and actually sort of immunity?
Yeah, I want to put it this way. You know, sycophants are good, but they can put you in a ditch, in the sense that if I strongly believe in you, Richard, I must also be able to retreat and see where you can run into a pitfall. But if I were to praise you blindly, then I'm not useful, because even in my absence, I can still do better. And for those who are aspiring to politics, it's actually your critics who assist you to succeed. It is not your supporters.
Very well.
And Cherargei, for me, is either an apologist, a sympathizer, or just a cabal of opportunists who want to take advantage of the presidency to leverage on their own resources and opportunities.
Very well. Yeah. In the interest of time, as we close the conversation, let's wind up still on matters corridors of justice. And Attorney General Justin Muturi very recently pronounced himself on the housing tax, saying he was never consulted, and his legal position is that the tax is unconstitutional. Of course, many people in Kenya Kwanza have taken concern with his stand, but from where you sit, do you salute Justin Muturi for really coming out boldly and honest about the matter?
You know, Justin Muturi, we've known each other now close to 40 years. I knew him when he was a magistrate in, I think, Machakos, and subsequently we met in Parliament. We were together in the Committee of Live Coverage, and I'm privileged to have met him last Friday during the launch of a book by Cecily Kariuki, who was my officer. I gave her the first job in government as director, MD, T-Bot of Kenya, when she was under 40.
One Cecily Kariuki, and she performed very well in a panel that presented 7 people. She was among the best 3. And as if that was not enough, I gave a job also to Lois Njeru, who is a elder sister of Cecily, in Coffee Board of Kenya. Based on merit?
Based on merit. I did not know them. I knew Njeru before even Cecily. Why? You know, allow me to say this, because
yeah, sure.
When I go historical, I feel nice. I travel.
Very well.
We had gone to Kalro or Kari at that time, and Dr. Kimemia, who was the director of Coffee Research Foundation in Kiambu, or Ruiru, the people call it Ruiru. That's why they talk of Ruiru 11. Did not manage, because all the MDs, 26 of them, were presenting to me, because what I wanted to do is to create a theme for them to realize that all these parastatals were once in 1908 a Department of Agriculture here at near Nairobi School. It was a Department of Agriculture. So whether it is Coffee Research Foundation, Tea Research Foundation, Sugar Research Foundation, Barethara and Board, all of them emanated from the stem called the Department of Agriculture. And for me to present that is to give them a helicopter view of the ministry, so that somebody doing tea knows the relationship between tea and coffee and the maize research. So Dr. Kimemia was not there, Then this girl, Lois Njero, I call her girl because she's slightly younger than me, was now, they want to present. Initially I was reluctant because why is the MD not there? Number two, she's of small stature. In terms of height, she could be my height. But of course, she is not rounded like me. So she came and presented. At the end of all that in the evening, I said it is good to take children to school because she did excellent performance, better than some of the most MDs. So when she went again for an interview, I was given names because I never followed who has been interviewed. I was given names, 7 names. And Njeru was there, Lois Njeru. I gave her the job after Cicely. And Cicely even never called me to tell me no, that my sister is in the interview. So it was a coincidence that the two were in my department. And they appreciated that by inviting me last week. Then I met Justin Muturi and we reminded each other of the old stories. What am I trying to tell you? That this is a system that does not believe in order and processes. Even now there is a law. They want to take away the public seal from the office of the Attorney General. Why? Who is going to keep that seal? You want to take it to State House? The answer is as good as yours. Where if you are taking the seal from the office of the Attorney General, you are not taking it to Treasury because it is not money. You must be taking it to State House. And this is what worries me. And at times when I say it, people think that, oh, I don't like the president. I like him. He's a very nice young man.
And ambitious.
Very ambitious, which is very good. But at times he's over-ambitious. And he likes overshooting the runway. And when he crashes on the other side, he blames it on Kirwa.
He needs to come and consult you oftentimes.
Just listen to me whenever I'm on the media. And for your information, the other one trended very well.
Extremely well.
Yeah, there was a clip on TikTok about telling the president to learn to listen.
True.
I liked that one.
You did?
Yes, I did.
I hope State House will call me for tea soon enough.
But when you go there, don't forget we are here.
I won't. And I won't forget you.
Thank you.
In case I get some.
I will tell your parents, you know.
You surely will?
I will tell your parents.
Asante sana. Always a pleasure to have you on board.
It's my pleasure.
Dr. Kiro. And thank you so much for always tuning in to Richard Mwenje Exclusive. Remember, we also have another show, my, of course, trademark show, that is Business Glide, talking matters, business, economics, and public policy. Make sure you don't miss any of our editions. Until next, when we meet on this particular show, have a good day.